Hey Thrivers, you're listening to Season 2, Episode 6. Today I am excited to be joined by a very special guest. She's a talented photographer in the Lancaster area, a great friend, and a mom to one sweet little boy. We're welcoming Nicola Herring to the podcast today, where she'll be sharing with us her journey from weddings to newborn photography and how she and her husband became adoptive parents to their adorable son, Simon. Whether you're in the adoption process or you simply need some inspiration today, you have come to the right place. So keep listening.
Welcome to The Thrive, a podcast for working moms. This is for all the women and moms listening. If you work from home, in an office, run your own business, or are the CEO of your family, this podcast is for you. Because at the end of the day, all moms are working moms. Rachel and Christine invite you to celebrate the victories, get advice, listen to their mom fails, and to know you aren't alone, to thrive in your everyday life.
Hi guys, this is Rachel.
And this is Mara.
I love that you just hopped in. Mara has listened to a bunch of our episodes, as you can tell, and she is filling in today for Christine.
Love you, Christine.
So Mara, remind our listeners who you are and what your business is. Mara was actually one of our guests in, I think it was like episode 7 or 8, like back in the beginning.
Yeah, so asking who I am, that's a really big question. Because I'm always learning about who I am. But I am a professional organizer. I help people declutter and organize and maximize their space so that they can live and work more efficiently. I'm also a wife. I'm a mom of 2 boys. Malachi is 9 and Ezra is 7. And yeah, I'm a 4 on the Enneagram. So
yes. I was actually going to mention the Enneagram because I know that was the first I think we had dived into it, like on the show, when you were on that episode talking about your business and just how you help people declutter. It was so funny to see how like your Enneagram number played into that.
And I think I was just learning about it, and so I was really excited and diving into it then.
Yeah, and today we have with us another local mom and business owner. Her name is Nicola Herring. Hi, Nicola.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us today. And can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a photographer. I photograph babies and families. I'm also a wife and a mom to a 5-year-old. Can't believe he's 5. Simon.
Is that okay?
Yes, you can say his name because he's, yeah. And yeah, that's what I do.
That's awesome. Well, we have a lot of questions for you as we go on today. I would love to hear more about your business because I know that you're in a little bit of a transition. And we also want to hear a little bit about your journey as a mom because your son is adopted.
Yes.
And I know that some of our listeners are going through that process or are also adopted moms. And we would just love to hear, at least I know, I'm very curious to hear about your journey and how that all started and, yeah, how things are going now that you have a 5-year-old.
I know. He's been home with us 3.5 years. Coming up on 4.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, in February, March.
And he is so sweet. My boys love him.
Everyone loves Simon.
I have not met Simon.
You have not? Okay.
I feel like as often as I see you, like I have never met him.
I know. I can't go down the street without somebody. It could be a stranger. It could then no one notices me anymore. It's always about Simon.
Yeah.
He's got a magnetic personality.
Yes.
I actually had somebody twice in the past week ask if my girls were twins. And
They don't look, yeah.
No, they don't. You're right.
When my boys are sitting down, people will ask them.
Yes, I think that it's because they were sitting, it was like in the stroller one time and then in a shopping cart. And like when you don't notice that like the older one is like a head taller because Rowan has so much hair, everyone thinks she's
And you always
older.
put them in pigtails, like
so
3 inches above her head.
But she has so much hair, like it's almost as long as Reagan's, and she only just turned 2. Like some of her little girlfriends, like her little bestie Oakland has this tiny little sprout. Like she just started being able to get her hair into a sprout.
How far
Rowan's hair is like down her back. They're 17 months.
Okay, mine are 23 months apart.
Okay, they are pretty.
Yours are close.
They are. Yeah, our first. I always joke that she tricked us because she was such an easy baby that we were like, yeah, we could have another one. Like she legit slept like from the time we brought her home. she never like had days and nights confused. She just slept all the time. So yeah, it made us think that we could handle a second one, and then she turned 1 and tables turned. We were like, what are we thinking?
I don't want another one because I think Simon's been such a great kid. Great sleeper, eats everything we give him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to jinx that.
Yeah.
At all.
That's awesome. That's nice when they're not picky eaters.
Yes, he is a great eater.
I'm trying to think why we decided to have Ezra, and I'm thinking it was a surprise.
That's right,
Malachi. Well, no, it was an awesome surprise, Ezra. But Malachi was not a very good sleeper. He was an awesome, happy baby, but I just had to feed him all the time. It seemed like, and I was a zombie for like a year.
Oh, I can relate because the second time around, I had this really easy newborn, and then the second time it was not as easy. Like she didn't latch, so I had a lot of breastfeeding issues because she couldn't eat as much, and we found out she had a lip and a tongue tie. Mm-hmm. So if you are a new mom or you are expecting, that's always something to just be on the lookout for. I didn't know anything about it until the second time around, and now I'm like, oh, that explains a lot. Mm-hmm. So anyway, if you're having any issues, you could always just ask your doctor or your, what is it, like a lactation?
Midwife or lactation consultant. Yeah.
To check that out. But yeah, I can relate to the sleepless nights because the second time around it was lots of that. So how old was Simon when he came to live with you guys?
Well, he is from Uganda, was born in Uganda, and we were over there for 9 weeks. So if you count the 9 weeks we were there, we met him when he was 15 months. And then we actually came home with him when he was 17 months.
Wow. That's really neat. I cannot wait to ask you so many questions about that.
Yeah.
Before we dive into it, let's talk about favorite things, though, because I always like to know. I feel like it gives people a little bit of a little taste of your personality when we ask people their favorite things. Do you want to go first? Or Mara, do you have a favorite thing?
Go first, Nicola.
I will go first. Oh, I have so many favorite things. Okay. So my newest favorite thing is on my feet right now. My pink velvet shoes from Loft.
Oh, they're really cute. I said I liked them as soon as I saw you today.
Yes. I feel like I never find good deals or bargains when it comes to clothes shopping or shoes or anything, but these were $12.
That's a good deal.
I know. And they feel comfortable. They keep my feet warm. So yeah, my pink velvet shoes. I think they're velvet.
They look velvety.
Velvet? Yeah.
Do you ever go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls?
I never have good luck in those stores.
Oh, I always have good luck there.
You know, my husband shops at...
Knock on wood.
Not to jinx yourself.
My husband shops at Salvation Army. That's the only place he gets his clothes.
Really?
And I never have had good luck in either of those. So.
I feel like it's hit or miss at places like that. I like to do a lot of consignment for my girls' stuff because they grow out of it so quickly.
It's easy for kids' stuff.
Yeah.
It's easy for kids' stuff.
Yeah. Shout out Fashion Sense because if you're local, that is my favorite.
Yes. I love that place.
Spot.
Where is that?
It's actually off of 896, right outside of Strasbourg.
Okay, yeah.
Funny story. So my daughter has these really cute little boots I got there. Reagan. She has a pair I got over the summer. They were practically brand new, so I was like, I'm going to put these aside. They'll be great for school. And they're Cat and Jack, Target brand, but they were brand new. And just a few weeks ago, I was there and found the exact same pair of boots, also new. So I don't know if they just didn't get worn or whatever, but they were in Rowan size. They were smaller.
Aww, perfect.
So I was like, this is amazing. I always like when I can match them, but sometimes it's not intentional. I literally bought the shoes 5 months apart, but I don't know. It was just one of those awesome consignment finds. I was like, this is great. And they were perfect for wintertime. So now they wear their matching boots all the time.
That's awesome.
Well, we've been doing hand-me-downs all my boys' life until this past year or so. Mm-hmm. And that's why I started shopping at TJ Maxx and Marshalls because my kids will wear nothing but athletic clothes. Even for picture day, I was like, I'm not going to fight it. I'll fight for Christmas Day, maybe.
They look sharp, though. They look sharp.
They do. They're very handsome kids. And so they have really good prices there at those stores for that stuff.
Good to know. Is that one of your favorite things? What's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing right now is Billie Eilish. Have you heard her yet?
No.
She is a young singer. She has kind of
Wait, Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish.
Eilish.
Look her up.
Not eyelash.
Her lyrics are amazing. The music is amazing.
Like what
her
genre?
voice is amazing. I'm trying to think what it's called.
Like, who would you compare her to?
Lana Del Rey.
Okay.
Kind of like a melancholy,
Indie,
like, okay.
folky. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
But her voice, guys. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
What about you, Rach?
I think, oh man, favorite thing. I'm not as prepared this week. One of my favorite things right now, I actually did just mention it on Instagram. So I got some samples from Lemongrass Spa, and it's one of those businesses you can do as a mom. What is that? Like multi-level marketing.
Who did you go through?
Priscilla.
I know Priscilla.
I know
good.
Priscilla.
Hey, Priscilla.
We love you.
Yeah, she hooked me up with some samples to try, and I really like all of it. Like, it smells great. I know that it's like organic, and I just like that it's simple to use. I feel like some of the products out there, like facial care stuff, it's like 8 steps, and I just don't have time for like an 8-step system.
I don't have time for 3, honestly.
Yeah. So I like that it's been simple to use. It smells nice. I've been using like the facial stuff, and they also have like a body, like a polish. And at first I was like, what the heck is like a body polish? But it's kind of like an exfoliator. It's like a little rough. And then when you rinse it off, like, your skin is so smooth. So that might be one of my favorite things right now.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, because it's cold and my hands have been dry, so. Yeah.
I have to say another favorite thing is chocolate-covered hazelnuts.
What? Are they from Costco?
No. I can't even really find them on Amazon or anywhere. Lemon Street Market in the city here is the place that I buy them. And they are just a piece of heaven in your mouth.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I love that you guys both live downtown. Like, if I ever need to know anything, I feel like you guys are like, you live in it.
Yes.
I miss that.
If you have any questions about restaurants, I've tried most of them.
Oh, wow.
There's a handful that I still want to
So what's
get
your
to.
favorite restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh, I like something different at every restaurant. I think the one we go to the most is Lancaster Brewing Company.
Okay. You do live very close to Lancaster.
So we can just walk there, and I like Ashley, the bartender. And there's always
Shout out
specials
Ashley.
there. The boys love playing the arcade games, like while we're waiting for our food. And I'm a beer drinker, and I like their hot pog. So, but their burgers are good. Their tacos, they have a lot of good stuff.
I have had like all good food there. I will share it. I had a really embarrassing experience there. So I probably took like a year and a half off of going to Lancaster Brewing Company because of this experience.
Just to wipe the slate clean.
It is not because I was drinking too much. Just to be clear, it was actually when I was when I was pregnant with Reagan. We had gone there.
Your water broke.
No, that would have been better. I honestly feel like that could have been like more discreet. No, I was like 9 months pregnant, and like a friend had texted Kyle or something about meeting up, and he said, yeah, like, why not? Like, it was a nice day. Why not? We'll sit outside or whatever. And I was like trying to get labor to go. Like I was late with her, and it was probably in that last week of like, what can we do? And we had tried all the things. So he's like, well, why don't we get some like really spicy wings? Like, we'll eat some wings and you'll be fine. And I was not fine. We got there, and I don't know if it was like just the day, just because I was 9 months pregnant. But all I remember is that I took like one bite of like a hot wing, and I don't know if I had drank too much water ahead of time, but we were actually inside at the time, and it's like very crowded in that bar area. Maybe there was like a game on or something that they were watching, which is why we were indoors. And I did not know where the bathroom was. I couldn't remember in my panic. I couldn't
Because
remember.
you needed to spit it out?
I needed to throw up.
Oh.
And I could not remember where the bathroom was. So I just like ran out as fast as I could. They have like those steps there. Like the main entrance, there's like steps you go down. And then anyway, I made it down like 2 steps. And then I just puked over the railing into some bushes. And it didn't stop. Like I like made it a few more steps. And I like threw up a little bit further. I am pretty sure like we had parked in that lot kind of across from it, and I like puked like 4 times on my way to the car. I don't know what made me so sick, but I was so embarrassed. Like I was just mortified. I remember texting him. I'm like, I'm sitting in the car. I will not come back in. You need to leave.
That's awful.
I was like, nope, never going back.
That's hilarious. I'll never look at those steps again. I mean, the same way.
Yeah.
Though I say step up to better beer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what I'll be thinking of now.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think it made it off of like the sidewalk and like the step area, but like the bushes all along the side, like it was just terrible. That was my experience at Lancaster Brewing Company, everyone. Every other time though, their food's been great.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
Oh my gosh.
So, next subject.
So Nicola.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into photography, and just tell us how your business journey started as a mom and as a photographer. How did that all come about?
Well, I went to school for graphic design and photography, and I thought I was going to be a fashion photographer.
Why?
I don't know why, because I'm not a super fashionable person.
I don't think fashion photographers usually are.
I don't know.
That is a really huge assumption I just made. I apologize. I don't know. I really don't know.
In my head, I assumed you would need to be fashionable to understand fashion. I don't understand fashion very well. But anyway, so I went through college thinking I was going to be a fashion photographer. Quickly learned that I wasn't going to make it in that field very well. So I just graduated with both my degrees and thought I would pursue graphic design. My husband is a graphic designer.
So had you met him?
We met right after college. So
did you go to a graphic design
I went
lecture
to
or something to find him or
so I went to
to
what?
meet him? I don't know. How did you guys meet?
This is off subject here, but we met online. We met on a dating website.
No, which one?
I think it was ChristianCafe.com.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Hey, I met my husband on Match.com, and Christine met her husband on eHarmony.
Yep.
Well, no judgment.
The funny thing about our story is we didn't pay a penny.
Oh.
So through there, I don't even know if they're still around, but you had to message through their system. And if you would put an email or something, they wouldn't send a message. So I encoded my email to him because I was on the trial or something.
Oh.
And he figured it out, and then we just started emailing.
So you're like, this guy's smart. I'll give him a chance.
Yeah. And what caught my eye in his profile is he was holding, he doesn't remember this, posting this picture, but he was holding his niece. And she was, I don't know, like maybe a year, 2 years old. And I just think, that's cute.
Yeah.
Aww.
I also heard that holding your dog is a good way to get people to.
Oh, yeah. Well,
swipe
is that the same with cats? Is that the same for cats too?
I don't know.
I'm a cat lady.
Okay.
Yes. That's my other favorite thing.
Do you have
cats.
A cat?
Oh, yes. I have.
I've never
a cat.
seen your cat.
She's a scaredy cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you did joke about this with me one time, and you mentioned that, like, if you weren't married, like, you would totally be that person with, like, 10 cats.
Yes. Well, so when we bought our house, where we live now, we moved in, and it came with about 8 strays. And so my husband built this cat house, and we put a heat lamp in it, and we feed them, and every evening we'd, like, take this tray of wet food out for each of the cats.
I'm not going to tell you what we do to our strays.
Don't tell me. No, we don't have any around now. The last one.
We give them your address.
Yeah, they can come over to our neck of the woods. But we just have one indoor cat, and she's my snuggle bunny. She just curled up on my lap, keeps me warm in the winter.
Aww.
Yeah.
So what did you do when you back to graphic design?
Yeah.
So you didn't do graphic design, or you did?
No, so I actually started out working with a photographer designing their albums.
Oh, so like a mix of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Jeremy?
No, this was before Jeremy. I think their name was Lime Street Studios. They were in the city here. I think they moved to California. So I started working out with them, doing the albums, and I started photographing, second shooting with them at weddings, and that's when I got into photographing events and stuff. But
Did you like doing weddings? I heard that they're really stressful.
It is stressful.
It's like a big time commitment, right?
Yes. Well, then my next job was with Jeremy Hess, and I worked with him for about 5 or 6 years.
How did you get that job? Or was he not established?
He was, again, looking for album designer.
Okay.
So I started working with him, designing his albums, and then I started second shooting with him, and did weddings with him for 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And then when I decided to move on, I somehow that year I booked my own weddings, 13 that year.
Whoa,
And
that's
huge.
I
started doing wedding photography. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
I always wondered, like, when a photographer has a second shooter, like, how do you decide who takes pictures of what? Maybe that's a really dumb question but I'm not a photographer. Like,
yeah,
how do you make sure that, like, you're not both, like, getting the same stuff? Or, like, do you have very specific roles? Like, the second person is, like, taking pictures of, like, the details, and the main person is getting pictures of, like, the people.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, how I did it is, when the guys and the girls are getting ready, I would have me or the second shooter with the girls, and then the other person would be with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
So then those, you're not getting double shots there.
Right.
Sometimes, when I worked with Jeremy, we'd sometimes be together, and he would make me do some detail shots of the shoes and the jewelry, and while he was doing pictures of the bride or different things like that. But for like bridal party shots, I always had my second shooters I wanted them to be free to experience and photograph how they felt led to, but they would kind of be off to the side, getting more portrait, tighter shots versus the big group shots that I would have been getting.
Now, when you were photographing weddings, was that when the more candid shots were coming into style, or was it very structured and?
Yeah, I think it has changed a lot.
It has changed a lot. I would say it was a mix of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we tried to get for our wedding, but I know they turned out fine.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know exactly how you got started. So then, when you started on your own, it was weddings.
It was weddings. I started out in weddings, and towards the end of my time working with Jeremy, I had photographed a couple of babies and newborns, and really, really enjoyed it. And then once I had gone out on my own, I started trying to do a little bit more of that and really just fell in love with it. And then when we bought our house, we renovated above our garage into a studio. And then that is where I photographed all my newborns and started doing more studio-based photography.
Yeah, and those were so cute. I feel like that was when that whole Aunt Getty's phase was still popular, the very posed, the very cute,
Nicola's the
close-ups.
Lancaster Aunt Getty.
Yeah. I feel like Aunt Getty's used a lot of flower. My style is very simple still.
Yeah, you didn't have the flowers and the big, dressing them up as little bumblebees or anything. But the
similar
same style
posing.
where they're
posing.
posed and they might have their little naked butts and look so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what made you choose newborns over continuing with weddings?
So once we adopted our son, I didn't want my weekends to be filled with weddings.
Oh, smart, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I think I photographed, I'm trying to think how many. I kind of weaned myself, the years after he was home. Last year and the year before was the first, so 2 years ago was the first year I hadn't done any weddings. So that was 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I don't miss it.
Well, then that's a sign you made the right choice.
There is a whole new crew of young photographers that are amazing.
Amazing.
Are gifted and are taken over. And I'm like, you can have it. And it's their thing.
Before you have kids and you have your free weekends, you go do those weddings.
And they're really good at it, too. They're really good at it.
And then you said you started doing newborns, but now you're transitioning from newborns to what?
Yeah, so this transition sort of started let's see, I'm trying to think how long ago it was now. Last year, actually, when I joined Mastermind, Inspire through the Inspire business, which both of you have been a part of.
Yeah, and we've mentioned that before in the show.
Yeah.
I feel like regardless of what area you're in, maybe you're listening from California or maybe you're elsewhere, not in Lancaster, if you are a businesswoman and a mom, it's so great to get connected into something like that. So yeah, if you're in this area, shout out Inspire. It's been very helpful to me and I think all of us.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, for me, it was a year of personal growth and sort of revelation, not necessarily business growth, but just kind of a self-discovery year for me through using the mastermind. And through that, I was realizing that, I have sort of always struggled being a mom and managing a business. I think
it's a tough juggle.
Both of you can attest to that. It's hard.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't being very good at it. When there was work to be done, I wasn't given the time to Simon that he needed, and it was causing a lot of tension and stress. And this past summer for me was just not very fun because I went through a certain number of days working because he was in school to less days during the summer because he's not in school, and thankfully I had babysitters, but it just became very stressful for me, and I'm like, I can't do this. My family is more important to me than my work and my income. Like, I want to make sure that my son is getting what he needs.
Yeah.
So I just, as I was processing through the mastermind group, I just realized that the structure and the schedule that the Studio Newborn brings just wasn't working for me.
Because those shoots are long.
They're long, and I usually would photograph them during the mornings, mornings to early afternoon. And every photographer is different. Some photographers will photograph any time of day, but for me, was what worked best. But it just, then the editing time, making that baby skin perfect, and all the backdrops seamless and all that kind of stuff just was
it's a lot.
Taking too much time for me. So a really hard decision to move away from Studio Newborns. Now I still offer them, but they're far and few. I'm not going to take as many as I was taking.
You're so good at them that I'm glad you're still offering them. You're just not marketing.
I'm not marketing to them. But instead, in the last, I'd say 4 or 5 months, I've been doing some more lifestyle newborn sessions, and I love it.
Oh, that sounds
fun.
I would love to see some.
I would come to a client's home and photograph more of a lifestyle, hanging out with the baby, even the things like changing diapers, feeding, baby details, that kind of stuff.
That sounds really cool.
I'm just going to put it out there. I already asked Nicola to take pictures for me, and I can't wait.
I can't wait.
And I like what you mentioned, how it captures those little moments, because honestly, like, we did the styled, like the very cute, like the newborn pictures for Rowan, and I think they're adorable. But I want to see those moments. I want to remember those moments of like changing a diaper, and like I can already see like the girls trying to help, and you just like capturing the chaos. Like I can already imagine like the baby powder floating in the air, and like my 2-year-old trying to be
scrubbing paint off of the floor.
Who knows? I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I actually just wrote a blog post about 5 reasons to love in-home newborn sessions. So you can go to my website to check that out.
That's awesome. What's your website?
NicolaHerringphotography.com.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing.
On the blog, yeah.
Also, Nicola took my family's pictures this past summer, and we were very pleased with her work. They just turned out really beautifully. I love how you capture the light, and I think Shane and I had gotten in an argument before the shoot, and she just made it so relaxing and easy that we ended up like being fine afterwards. So it turned out really good.
Good.
So if you get in an argument on the day of your photos, don't worry, Nicole will help you solve all your problems.
I will help you.
Well, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we are going to be talking a little bit about your adoption journey.
Sure.
Hey Thrivers! Today's episode is sponsored by Rachel Klein Marketing and Creative. That's right, that's my own personal business. If you've listened to the show, you've probably heard me talk about mom life and business a lot, but you might not know what I actually do. Well, since 2014, I've been designing websites and offering social media marketing services for small businesses. I work with companies here in PA and across the United States, and it's my goal to help small business owners grow their online presence with social media, SEO, and responsive website design. If you've been considering a new website in 2019, I want to personally invite you to schedule a consultation with me to review your existing website and receive a quote for a new mobile-friendly website that will highlight your skills and your services. You can find all the details at rachelkleincreative.com or email me at rachelkleincreative@gmail.com. Simply mention the Thrive Podcast. Welcome back, guys. This is Rachel and Mara and Nicola.
Hey.
We were just talking about how Nicola's business evolved from wedding photography to newborn photography to now more of like a lifestyle newborn photography and family photos too, right?
Yeah, I still do families. Yep.
Awesome. And speaking of families, you had mentioned that part of the reason for your transition was so that you could spend more time with your son.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about just your journey with adopting your son.
Yeah. So when my husband and I got married, we had discussed even before we got married that we would be open to adoption. And then once we got married, we thought maybe we should just start looking into it. We know international adoption can sometimes take quite a long time. So we decided to go to a informative meeting at an adoption agency here in Lancaster, Bethany Christian Services. And we went to their international one and also the domestic one just to kind of get a feel for both programs. And really both came away feeling like international would be the direction that we would go.
Yeah.
So we actually started out in the Ethiopia program.
Okay.
And it was, going to be a 3 or 4 year process. But once we got into it, about a year, we realized it was going to be a lot longer than that. And at that point, we were somewhat ready to have children. I might just throw in there that we weren't adopting out of infertility issues or anything. We hadn't tried to have biological kids. We just felt led to adopt first. So,
wow.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Sure.
1, why did you choose international over domestic? And then 2, why did you pick Ethiopia?
I actually wanted to ask that too about international versus domestic.
Yes. Well, there wasn't a there wasn't a reason specifically why. We just felt drawn to that program.
That's a good reason.
I don't know how else to explain it besides other than that. So the other question was, why do we choose Ethiopia?
Yeah.
So we kind of limited with the countries we could choose because of the length of time we had been married. And there was one other reason. I'm totally blanking now. But we had only been married a few years at that point. And I think a lot of programs required you to be married about 5 years or longer.
Oh, wow.
We had originally considered Haiti, but I think you had to be married 10 years for that before you could be considered.
Wow.
Yes. I don't know. And things may have changed now. I don't know what all the rules are now. But
it's just so interesting to me. I don't really know much about it. And I would, from my perspective, I'm just thinking if these children really need homes, why does it matter if you've been married 5 years or 10 years?
Yeah.
But I guess they have their reasons.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons we chose Ethiopia. I think we would have been able to adopt from maybe Bolivia. And honestly, I've been to Bolivia and it's a beautiful country, but I got deathly sick over there. And it just put a bad taste in my mouth. So Ethiopia it was. But, we were in it a year and realized it was going to be a lot longer than that. And we checked in with our agency and just said, hey, we've been married a little bit longer now. Is there anything that we can look into that might speed up things for us? And they had just opened up a pilot program through Uganda. And they said, we don't know what to expect because it's such a new program, but we think it could be a little bit quicker. And there was not many families in the program, so we decided to switch. And it's a long story. I mean, I could just go on for hours about it. But so we got put on the waiting list. And basically how it works is you have these requirements, like I would like to adopt a boy, or we're open to either gender, or we're open to HIV, or we're open to whatever your stipulations are. And we then they put you on a wait list, and then you just kind of wait for them to present you with a profile that you can look at, and you can say yes to the profile or no to the profile. So we actually, every once in a while, I would just go onto the special needs portal where they have profiles available for kids that have special needs that you can go in and see them directly. You don't have to wait for it to be matched with them necessarily.
Wow.
So I occasionally just go on there just, out of curiosity, just to see what kind of children, what kind of special needs are up there. And I came across our son's profile. And his picture, I just can't even, I'll have to show you this picture sometime. His eyes, his just big round eyes, you know what his eyes were like, and his curly lashes. So I just clicked on his profile, and there was another little girl, and I was just looking at both of them. And his profile was somewhat vague, but there was some special needs that were listed. And so I showed my husband. I said, should we just get some information about these two children? And he's like, sure. So
how old was Simon in the picture?
He's probably like 3 or 4 months old.
Oh,
wow.
And he was just chubby, and he was so cute. So then we decided we want to get more information and just find out more specifics about the special needs. So we, this is a backstory. I got to divert just a little bit. We have a friend who was praying for us avidly through our adoption. You know her, Jenny? Yes.
Yeah.
She prayed for us. I think she was like pretty regularly on a Wednesday. And one day it was a Friday, we had Bible study at church, or with our small group. I got a text from her, and she's like, what's going on with your adoption? I'm unsettled in my spirit. What's going on? I'm like, nothing. Like, nothing's changed. Just keep praying. And then I forget how at the timing of it all, but when we got matched with his profile, the first thing I saw was his birth date, and it was the day that she had texted me.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's really neat.
I love things
So,
like
Jenny's
that.
a great friend
She
to have.
is.
Shout out to Jenny Hoover.
Jenny Hoover, she's a great friend. So I couldn't not look at his profile at that point. And he actually, they listed that he had cerebral palsy, which is like a muscular, I'm not super knowledgeable on it, but so we just started praying through it, and we're like, should we pursue this? And there was actually a few other families that were interested in his profile. And we, what happened was they decided, because there was a number of families interested, that they wanted each family to write a letter of intention. Why would you want to adopt this child? So, and they chose us.
Wow.
So it was meant to be. It was totally meant to be. And honestly, he is such an amazing kid.
And have you asked Simon, like, how much you can share about the whole process, or is he pretty, like, open?
Well, we will openly share about the process to adopt him, but we are very, we don't like to share too much detail about his story in terms of birth, family, or any of that kind of stuff, because he's not old enough right now to completely understand it all. And so I don't want to be telling family, friends, strangers about his story when he really doesn't understand it. When he's ready when he's ready and understands it himself, he can be the one to explain.
Can I ask really another hard question?
Sure.
How are you preparing to be a parent of a black male? You know, as a white family, are you nervous or excited or scared about that? Because, like, where our country is right now.
Yeah. That's a hot topic for sure. It's
Before
not
you answer
easy.
that, I didn't know your son had cerebral palsy.
He doesn't. He was.
I was like, is that a big part of this story that somehow I missed out on?
That was the part I missed. Now, doctors here can't diagnose him. Now, when we had his profile, we had some videos and pictures. We actually went down to CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and they analyzed the videos and did all this kind of stuff. And they definitely noticed some symptoms of CP. I think it was his left side didn't function quite as well as his other side. And so they were pretty I mean, I get like shaky thinking about the story because it's like, to me, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Like when you would pick him up, his legs would scissor, he had a head lag, his left side didn't function properly, and doctors here can't diagnose him.
So he's essentially like outgrown a lot of those things.
Well, you can't outgrow CP. It's like something that you're born, like usually it's through birth, and it's with you for your life. So either he was totally misdiagnosed or completely miraculously healed, or it could have just been severe malnutrition that showed symptoms in those ways. But you would never know. And yeah, he's a little miracle.
Oh my gosh,
really
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I felt like that was important. I was like, wait, what happened with that?
Yeah.
So that is so cool. But how is it going, like, at this point as a mom, as a white family? Like,
yes. So we do a lot of what I learn is through Facebook groups. I'm part of some groups that have families that are transracial. But it's...
Is that the correct word?
Transracial.
I've never heard that.
Yes.
I just feel like you're educating me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Transracial, which is a family,
like a blended
family. Yeah, blended family. I feel like I'm still learning. When we started the process, it's kind of like stars in the eyes. Like, you're going to adopt this child and be this kind of saving grace for their life, but really it's not about you at all. And you have to really consider, what is he going to have to go through? First, being in a family that's transracial, and then secondly, being Black. And we're in a time in society right now where it's not easy. I'm still learning a lot of stuff, and I have some good friends that I can connect to and ask questions through the hard stuff. But there's books out there, and there's these groups that I'm a part of that help me, but
I'm glad that I feel like it's always been very hard for a long time, but I feel like now that it's out in the open, there's a better chance of things changing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was recently talking to someone, it's a friend's mom, and who's Black, and she said to me, she's like, you know what? She's like, I think things are changing. She said, because when we went through the adoption process, they really encouraged us to surround our child with not just white,
all different ethnicities.
all different ethnicities, diversity, and so they consider going to a doctor that's African American or a dentist or living in the city, and we chose to be in the city because where we live is very diverse. But this lady that I was talking to the other day, she says, as much as that is important, it's not the end of the world if he doesn't. He's going to grow up and be, she's like, I really feel like things are changing. And I really hope that things do change, but it's not an easy topic either. And I'm still learning a lot.
Thanks for letting me ask that. I'm always curious because it seems like such a challenge.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not the most knowledgeable in it.
Good
like some people are, but yeah, I'm still learning.
That's awesome to just hear that it's something you're constantly working through. Because I think a lot of moms, especially just the fact that you're on a podcast, people are, maybe thinking you have all the answers. And sometimes I feel like it's just good to know that, like, it doesn't matter if you're a professional photographer or a professional web designer. It doesn't matter what you are. We're all just regular moms.
For 9 years. Like, I still feel like a new mom every day because I've never had a kid this age before.
Yeah,
I think, honestly, every stage is new. There's always new questions. I mean, my 3-year-old wants to know how this baby got in my belly. And
what are you doing about that?
Oh, my
There's some cute books out there that I'll have to...
I should actually... Yes, if you have any... maybe we should put this out there to listeners. If you have any resources, send them my way.
I'm actually thinking of an acquaintance on Instagram right now that I know has a book about that. It's written for kids.
Yeah.
I will get that title.
Is expecting. Because that would be great. I have just kind of muddled my way through it. she is not one of those kids that's happy anymore with like, well, that's just how God made you, or like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
She needs to know
why.
So she knows, the girl parts and the boy parts, and she doesn't really understand how everything works. But I have just explained that in mommies, in girls, you have parts that help you grow a baby, and daddies have parts that help make the baby. And she's been okay with that. And apparently she told her whole class in all the girls in the bathroom at preschool a few weeks ago that, babies come out of ginas. And she educated them on the female parts. And so that always makes me laugh that I'm like, oh, well, at least she remembers correctly.
Yeah.
But we do need to talk about time and place.
It seems like when they're young like that, it's just... they just need a sentence answer and then they're bored. Like, I tried to explain things very scientifically and matter-of-factly every time that they would ask, and they would get bored of hearing me. So I'm like, okay, that's
just,
great.
simple answers. Yeah.
But, things change.
Oh, yeah. That was, the one thing that I think I had read about or even just heard on, I think it was like a talk show or something, was that it is important to use the right words.
Yes, agreed.
Because especially because if something would negatively happen.
Yeah.
You don't want your child being confused and telling you, someone touched my, I don't know, what are some slang words?
I don't even know.
But you want them to be able to tell you, no, somebody, touched this or did that or whatever. Yeah. And the more they can tell you, the better the situation will be. So another reason, unfortunately, it's important to educate.
Is so that they're not brought up thinking that our sexuality is a shameful thing.
Right.
Which I feel like our generation is doing a lot better at that thing.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why we chose to just be very matter of fact about it. And it's actually a beautiful, awesome, amazing thing.
Yeah.
All of it.
We've done the same with Simon. He knows body parts, and that's the only terminology he's allowed to use.
Yeah. That's so good.
What about cursing? Speaking of words, because, my kids go to a public school, and so they learned stuff when they were in kindergarten, and...
kindergarten? Only have 2 years till this happens?
I don't know. And then, I've slipped once or twice, and I just don't know. What do you guys think about what boundaries and what's completely off limits, or I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Curious.
This could be a whole nother show.
Yeah. We don't allow it.
I mean, but what if they do it? That's what I'm talking about. How do you address it, and are there consequences, or do you just let it go and think it's just a season?
I only have a 5-year-old. I can't speak to that.
I always respected a friend of mine in college, her relationship with her parents. I always really, really admired it. She told me that when she was growing up, her mom had told her, if you ever hear a word that you don't know and you're not sure if it's a good or a bad word, you will never get in trouble if you come and ask me about it.
Yeah,
I like that.
And I want to have that with my girls. I don't want them to use it and think because they just aren't sure. If they aren't sure, I want them to feel comfortable to say, hey, I heard so-and-so say this at school. And I don't know if that will happen or not, but I haven't gotten to that point yet so far. Reagan told me the other day, Daddy said a mean word. And I was like, what did he say? And she goes, he told me no, that I can't have any yogurt. so far,
what a jerk.
I know. I was like, first of all, no isn't a bad word. I'm just not at that point yet. But I hope that when we get there, it can just be something that we can be open about.
Yeah, I like that mom's response, because it's there's no shame there. You're curious, things happen.
And I'd rather
tell me about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd rather have them talk to me about it than some other kid on the school bus or something because that's what I did as a kid. I was always scared to go to my parents. So I mean, I love them dearly. I always have loved them dearly. But my mom and I had a really rough teenage year period, and it's so funny now. She's always like, "Well, yeah, maybe there's some things I would have done differently," and I'm sure that in 20 years I'll probably say that too, but. I can only hope that I do some things differently now just from the experience I had growing up.
I'm deathly afraid of the teen years.
Oh.
Simon right now is just so adamant about having his way. Oh, last night we were playing. We have this little. We set up this basketball thing, and it's like a cardboard box that we had hooked to something. So it was open on the top and bottom, and we were throwing hoops, and we were playing. I don't know, horse or pig. It was like when you throw it, if you miss, you get a letter.
Okay.
So we did it. We did a bunch of animals, and I'm like, this is the last one, and the last one came, and he just was beside himself. And I'm like, you knew the last. It's hard.
It's hard to teach him to like be a good loser.
Yeah, that was the problem. That was he's like, I don't want to lose. Can you let me win? I'm like, kid. And he's asking to play basketball in February. I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to learn.
Out here to do horse, let alone hippopotamus.
So
oh my gosh, I remember that. Like with my sister, who was older than me, I would be like, well, let's play horses.
Yeah.
Give myself a few more chances.
That's cute.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that you're just working through it day by day. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I feel like just for anyone that might be going through the whole adoption process, I love that you mentioned it takes a few years. Like it's not, especially with international, it's not just like, oh, let's sign up for a baby.
Yeah.
There's a lot involved. So I feel like, if anyone had questions or wanted to contact you about photography as well, how would someone get in touch with you?
They could go to my website, nicolaherringphotography.com, or they can follow me on Instagram, which is Nicola Herring Photography.
Awesome. So if they wanted to book a session, website
you can contact me through my website. You can find my number on Google. Just Google Nicola Herring Photography.
Can you spell Nicola Herring for us?
Yes, Nicola. So Nicola is the British version of Nicole.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you're from the UK.
I did.
Whoop, whoop, shout out UK.
Born and raised till I was 11. It's Nicola, and the last name is Herring.
And all of this will be linked in our show notes as well. But if you're listening and you want to reach out, her work is beautiful. So take a look. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mara, thanks for your good questions.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. And oh man, I never know how to end it when Christine isn't here.
Oh my God.
I guess, what do we say? In case no one's told you yet.
You're doing amazing, moms. Thank you so much for listening today. You are a part of a growing community of moms, business owners, and women who are here to encourage and inspire. You can connect with Rachel at Rachel Klein Creative on Instagram or rachelkleincreative.com. To keep up with Christine and her latest events, follow her business journey on Instagram at Bellenberry Co. And if you want to be first to know about upcoming guests and giveaways, sign up for the Thrive Podcast email list today. Simply visit rachelkleincreative.com/The Thrive Podcast or follow at The Thrive Podcast on Instagram. If you've enjoyed listening this week or you've already added our show to your favorites playlist, we'd love for you to write us a review on iTunes. Your support and positive feedback allows us to keep encouraging moms and business owners each week.